All right, Falcons fans, listen up. Before we jump into today's big news, make sure to hit that like button so you don't miss any updates. There are some major developments coming out of Atlanta, and trust me, you'll want to stick around till the end to share your thoughts on what's happening with our Falcons. Let's get right into it. One of the biggest off-season questions has been the future of safety. Justin Simmons, and from what we're hearing, his time in Atlanta might be coming to an end sooner than expected. Simmons joined the Falcons last August, hoping to help the team make a deep playoff run. But now, it looks like he's set to hit free agency. His agent, Todd France, has made it clear there are no current plans for Atlanta to offer him a contract extension before free agency begins on March 10th. This past season, Simmons was a rock in the Falcons' secondary. He started all 16 games, recorded 62 tackles, and grabbed 2 interceptions while playing alongside Jesse Bates III. That duo was a huge boost for the defense. After the season-ending loss to Carolina, Simmons spoke highly of Atlanta, praising the locker room culture and the leadership within the organization. But despite those positive words, the reality is tough. GM Terry Fontenot and the front office have difficult decisions ahead. And from the way things are shaping up, Simmons might not be part of their long-term plans. Fontenot admitted that signing Simmons and outside linebacker Matthew Judon late in the offseason was meant to give the team an edge. But let's be honest, the results just weren't there. Another 8-9 season, another year without a playoff appearance. That's 7 straight years now. The front office knows something has to change. So what's next for the Falcons? Well, Falcons fans, if you had any doubts about the team's priorities in the draft, wonder no more. According to D. Orlando Ledbetter of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the Falcons have made a bold decision. They are only using their formal draft interviews on defensive players. That's right. Not a single offensive prospect is getting a meeting at the NFL Combine this week. And if that wasn't clear enough, the team didn't even bother bringing their offensive coaching staff to Indianapolis. That tells us everything we need to know. It's not often that a team commits this strongly to one side of the ball, but in this case, it makes perfect sense. The Falcons' defense has been struggling for years. Last season, they finished 31st in sacks, and they haven't cracked the top half of the league in that category since 2017. That's just unacceptable. And let's not forget, Raheem Morris is stepping in as the new head coach. He's a defensive-minded leader, and he's making sure the defense is the top priority from day one. So what does this mean for the draft? The Falcons hold the 15th overall pick, and if we read between the lines, it's almost certain they'll take a defensive player in the first round. The last time they did that was in 2020, when they drafted cornerback A.J. Terrell, and we all know how well that turned out. But outside of Terrell, the Falcons have focused their early round picks on offense for years. Guys like Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and Bijan Robinson. This year, though, it's all about defense. The big question is, do they go after a pass rusher or a defensive back? Because let's be honest, both areas need serious help. The Falcons rank 22nd in passing yards allowed and 31st in passing touchdowns given up last season. That's just not going to cut it, especially in a division where they have to face Derek Carr and Bryce Young, 2 quarterbacks who are only going to get better. So, who are the top defensive names to watch? Stay tuned. If the Falcons are serious about fixing their pass rush, they could target someone like Dallas Turner, Alabama, or Jared Verse, Florida State, with the 15th overall pick. But if they want to strengthen the secondary, players like Nate Wiggins, Clemson, or Cooper DeJean, Iowa, might be the perfect fit. Either way, one thing is clear: the Falcons are all in on defense in this draft. So Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. Are you okay with letting Justin Simmons walk, or do you think the team should try to bring him back? And what do you think about this draft strategy? Are the Falcons making the right move by focusing entirely on defense? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Now let's talk about the real bombshell. It looks like the relationship between quarterback Kirk Cousins and the Falcons is getting tense. There's been injury talk and sharp responses from head coach Raheem Morris and general manager Terry Fontenot. Here's what's happening. 3 weeks after Cousins claimed that he played through a right shoulder and elbow injury from weeks 11 to 15 last season, the Falcons front office basically shut that down. Before the NFL Combine, Fontenot made it clear Cousins only appeared on the injury report in Week 11 before the game against Denver. After that, he practiced normally and was removed from the final injury report, meaning he was cleared to play. In other words, from the team's perspective, there was no injury issue beyond that 1 week. But here's where things get even more interesting. Cousins was benched before Week 16, and Michael Penix Jr. took over as the starting quarterback. Why? Head coach Raheem Morris didn't hold back. He made it clear the decision was about performance, not injury. So what does this mean for Cousins and the Falcons moving forward? Stay tuned. The truth is, Kirk Cousins just wasn't playing well enough, and the numbers don't lie. During that 5-game stretch, he threw just 1 touchdown and 9 interceptions, a performance far below what's expected from a veteran quarterback. Head coach Raheem Morris made it clear. The decision to bench Cousins was based on what they saw in practice and games. To him, there were no signs that Cousins was physically limited. If Cousins was practicing and playing normally, then the decision had nothing to do with injuries. It was all about performance. And here's another twist. If Cousins was injured, he never communicated it in a way that would have affected his playing status. Now things get even more complicated. Cousins' contract is a big issue. He's guaranteed $27.5 million for 2025, but if he stays on the roster past March 17th, the team will owe him another $10 million. That means keeping him as a backup isn't exactly ideal. Financially, it just doesn't make sense. Even GM Terry Fontenot admitted that this isn't the best contract structure for a backup quarterback. But at least publicly, the team is saying they're comfortable with the situation. For now. The big question, what happens next? Will the Falcons try to trade Cousins? Will they cut him before his bonus kicks in? Or will they keep him as Penix Jr.'s backup despite everything? Right now, the relationship between Cousins and the team doesn't seem great, and this back and forth only fuels rumors that he could be on his way out. Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. Do you think Cousins really played through an injury and was treated unfairly, or was the benching the right call, and it's time for the Falcons to move on? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any Atlanta Falcons updates. Go Falcons!